Welcome to episode 5 of the World of Screens podcast. If you are going, hold up, I just watched episode 4 and Pete and Nick are dressed in the same outfits. It's because we're recording these back to back because we're busy, busy boys. On today's show, we are reviewing Jurassic World Rebirth. We're going to look at the latest in the Australian box office and we're reacting to some movie news, some big news, that's, I'm going to condense movie news to
To
muse from
muse.
now
Cool.
on. Big
Cool.
news stories. But before we get into that, I'm Nick LaBarra, the founder and film editor at World of Screens, joined as always by Peter Gray from the AU Review, Rotten Tomatoes certified critic man, Peter Gray himself. Pete, how are you going since the 30 seconds since we stopped recording the last episode and press record?
Incredible. I actually, you know what? I just had a very interesting message come through because
Ooh.
someone that we know, Georgia McClelland with
Oh,
the Courier
yes.
Mail,
Yes, yes, yes.
has visited the US, and I had to
Mm.
be like, how is it? How is going through customs and
Oh,
security?
of
And
course.
because I've heard horror stories, I've heard other stories. So I mean, I'm technically not visiting LA, but
But you got to pass
I'm
through.
going through the airport. So
Yeah.
I'm just wondering
Yeah.
what the vibe is. And
And what is the vibe?
I briefly skimmed her message, and she was just like, I was expecting the worst, but honestly, she's like, I gave him gave him my passport, told him why I was there, declared that I had candy, and I was pretty much set to go. And I was like, great. So it's just I think it's almost going to depend on who you get.
Yeah.
I think
And what happens over the next few weeks. But we're
that's it.
fingers crossed for
But
you, Pete.
yeah, I'm not like I have never been worried. I've just started hearing all of these crazy stories, and I'm like,
Yeah.
if they want to
It's a
look at,
weird
I'm
time.
like, you know what? I'm like, look at my phone. It's French bulldogs, it's movie news, and it's dudes without their shirts on. Go like that's my Instagram feed. Go for your life, you know? So yeah. But it's just always nice to know like an official story from not just like
Totally.
hearsay from
Yeah,
everything.
exactly. Someone
Um,
you know in
yeah,
Georgia.
who is there and clearly enjoying LA. So I'm like, great. So
Even better.
yeah.
Well, thank you,
But yeah,
Georgia, for coming through with the goods.
yeah, it makes me feel a little bit better.
Alleged candy smuggler, Georgia Cleland. Uh,
She'll love that.
she'll love that. But welcome, everyone. Thank you for listening to the show. Before we get into our reviews and whatnot for the episode, if you could subscribe on the podcasting platform that you are listening to us on, that would be great. Or if you're watching on YouTube, subscribe to us there. Like it, subscribe it, comment. Tell us what you really think about us or not. Just be nice. Also head to waterscreens.com. You can subscribe to our email list. You'll be the first to know when new reviews and articles drop. Or if you follow us at Water Screens on Instagram and X, you can find out there. All your support is incredibly helpful. Pete, there's been a
Nick.
shitload of movie news.
Yeah.
There's been some big news stories, and I've written a
I'm
few down.
I'm very interested if you've written down one that kind of shocked me when I heard it. So
Interesting. Well, I've got three here. I'll
okay.
rattle off my three. But then
Okay.
if you have one you want to add in there, because Pete doesn't know the ones I've written down, but I think you'll
No, I do
know
not.
kind of where we're going with this.
Yeah.
The big one and the one that's unavoidable and everyone wants our opinion on. And by that, I just mean like me and you. I just want to hear, we haven't spoken about it yet.
Yeah.
We found our new Bond director in
Yeah.
Denis Villeneuve,
We,
Dune director, Blade 2049 director. Let's not forget Sicario and Incendies director, Denis
Mario.
Villeneuve. What was your first thoughts when you heard this news?
Incredible. Like this is the guy that you want to have direct a Bond movie. Like
Yeah.
in a lot of ways, Sicario is kind of a
Oh,
nice little
I love
little
Sicario.
little audition for for it. So I'm very happy because
It's like a
when
dirty Bond movie, isn't it? Hey.
when the whole thing was announced about Amazon and MGM
Mhm.
getting the Bond thing, I was very worried because I was like, well, does that mean that we're never going to see a Bond movie in the cinema again? Like
Sure.
that was my worry. They very much have said, no, we're still committed to the
And
theatrical
someone like Denis
experience.
doesn't sign on unless
No.
he's getting a theatrical release.
Um, I'm assuming you have the further news about what
Yes, the
his contract
terms of
entails.
yeah.
So the initial thought was, yay, we're getting a new Bond movie, and we're getting it directed by him. This seems like it couldn't go wrong. But I feel like let's do a little bit of the follow-up, shall we, Nick?
So some of the follow-up is that he does not get final cut on the
No.
film. So, and then it came out allegedly that Christopher Nolan was obviously offered Bond by Amazon as well. And he was like, cinema? They're like, yes. And he's like, great. Final cut, they were like, no. And he was like, I get final cut in all my films. Denis has agreed to this, but it's
Mm.
also not something new for Denis. He has worked with IP and franchise
Mm.
stuff before,
Yeah.
big budget ones as well. I don't know if he's had final cut on Dune and Dune Part 2. I don't know if he got it for Blade Runner 2049.
Mm.
But those are also three movies that are truly incredible.
Mm.
So maybe it's not a terrible thing, but you kind of trust someone like Denis to be able to
I
like give you
I think
something
my
decent.
I think my worry is that if he doesn't get final cut, I'm like, it depends what the MGM Amazon heads what their
Mm,
where their heads at because
yes.
they could because he might not give them the kind of uh mainstream movie that they want. Like he might
Yes.
he might go a different direction with Bond. And that's the kind of direction that I feel like we want because I feel like the Daniel Craig movies kind of went against the grain in some ways.
Totally. It was like a reinvention
Um,
almost of the characters from the start.
so
Yeah.
I think someone like Denny doing like
Hmm.
a gritty, like
Yeah, totally.
really not leaning into like the kind of campy hijinks that I felt like Connery and Moore
Pierce
and
Brosnan
Brosnan had.
beforehand. Yeah, yeah.
Continuing with the a bit more of the Daniel Craig-ness.
What
But
is is Daniel Craig sort of your favorite Bond era? Is that the some of your or what do you like the campiness, the
yeah, I've literally like I've grown up with Bond movies. Like I
Sure.
was like obviously the Pierce Brosnan movies kind of started when I was like 10
Right.
and ended when I was like 17. So they were kind of like the ones that I saw. I saw all of those in the cinema.
Right. Yeah.
But prior to GoldenEye, like I had just grown up with Bond movies in the house. Like
Okay.
mum, like watching the Roger Moore and Sean Connery movies, the Timothy
Timothy
Dalton
Dalton, yeah.
ones as well. So I've grown up with all the different iterations of Bond.
Okay.
And seeing Casino Royale, I was just like, oh my, like that was
Yeah.
fuck, that's such a good movie.
Casino Royale
Um,
and Skyfall always go
oh,
back and forth as my favorite
yeah.
two Bond
Like
films ever.
I actually wanna I've been thinking about doing a Daniel Craig Bond
Rewatch.
rewatch of because I haven't seen
No Time to Die since
Spectre
the
since
cinema.
I haven't seen Spectre or No Time to Die
Okay.
since cinema. And
I did watch Spectre beforehand,
I
before No Time to Die, yeah.
liked I liked No Time to like I liked bits of No Time to Die. The Anna de Armas scene in my
Oh yeah.
mind is still the
I know I need to rewatch it.
yeah
I think yeah, that was one of those ones where we were waiting so long for it. That's
yeah.
like, was I more excited about finally
Well,
seeing it and just not paying
yeah.
attention? I'm curious for that.
But no, but I like the Daniel Craig. I think the Daniel Craig Bond movies are
Yeah,
like the best Bond movies, just in
like
terms of
consistency and
consistency.
quality. Yeah,
And he's not a kind of misogynist kind of character.
sure.
Um,
Yeah, yeah. I don't
uh,
think that'll pop up in Denis films. I
no.
don't think that'll
So
happen.
like I'm excited that he's directing it because
Hmm.
his movies just like he's someone who I has not made a bad movie
I
at
love him.
all. But my worry is that the final cut thing could go against him because they might want to
Right.
have something more and they might and like we don't know him they might bring in a ghost director. Like we don't know what
Hope not.
reshoots sort of thing. And
Yeah.
then the other part of the news with the Bond choices and like that
Right.
they're not casting it until a script is done. Like,
So that's the other
mm,
thing. So the studio is still searching for a writer at the moment, and they're not
yeah.
casting Bond till after the script is finished. It's
Which you
worth
know what?
pointing out. Oh yeah.
Like, I think that's probably a good thing to
Oh, for sure. Yeah, yeah.
have a script because then you're choosing
Based
an
on the
actor
material rather
based on the
than
material, not the other way around. So I'm
yeah.
okay with that. But yeah,
The
I have issues with their choices.
Yeah, but I feel like so much of it at the moment is just
It's just yeah.
it's all up in the air. Like we've
Yeah.
had talk about Idris
It's all
Elba forever. We've
speculation.
had
Yeah.
yeah, exactly, yeah. The other thing worth pointing out, he's only signed on for one film.
Yes. Okay.
So
Like,
if it's successful, you know, bring him
yeah.
back for more. If he has a
Yeah.
shit time, he's like, cool, I'm gonna go make my nuclear war project that I've been talking about for fucking 20 years. So
Yeah.
it'd be very interesting. But I think I have a lot more optimism about Denis
Okay.
being the next
Oh,
director
yeah.
or Bond. Um, some other big movie news. The Social Network is getting a sequel question mark. It's
Hmm.
called Social Network Part 2 at the moment, and it's
Hmm.
not being touted as a direct sequel, but more of a follow-up film, a sister film about
Hmm.
Facebook's influence on things like the American election, this whole fake news and sort
Hmm.
of community fact-checking stuff and how that affected the world. Aaron Sorkin, who wrote the screenplay based on the Accidental Billionaire's book, is returning to write this script
And
and direct it.
yeah.
Um, no word yet if Jesse Eisenberg's returning as Mark Zuckerberg, but it would make sense if he does.
And like if you can get Jesse Eisenberg to return for Zombieland and the Now You See Me movies, it seems like
He loves those Now You See Me movies too.
yeah,
He
yeah,
really loves playing that character.
yeah.
So
Um, I was this shocked me.
I was a
Like
little bit shocked
I
too.
was like, we don't need a sequel.
No.
Um, The Social Network is an incredible
Well,
film.
part of the New York
Part
Times
of
Top 100, rightfully so. Probably my favorite film, second favorite film of the
and
2010s, probably.
and it makes me want to rewatch The Social
Yes,
Network.
absolutely. Yeah, yeah.
Um, yeah, when I heard the news, I was very like, okay. And you know what? If like Aaron Sorkin is an incredible writer. Um, he
And I don't
directed
think he's a terrible director
he
either.
directed Molly's Game, didn't he?
He's done Molly's Game. He did the Trial of Chicago 7, and he did
That's yeah.
something else that is escaping me at the moment.
But
But
like I
I
really
liked
like
Trial of Chicago 7 as well.
I really liked Molly's Game
Yeah,
as
same.
well. But then again, a lot of that also does come down to the fact that Jessica Chastain is like,
Yes, totally. Yeah,
um,
yeah.
but this one is one of those ones that I'm like, I don't
Oh, he
have
did Being the Ricardos as well. But
being the Ricardos.
we all
Yeah,
have our missteps.
yeah. This is just one of those movies that I am like, I'll see where the news goes, what
Yeah,
happens with it. I have
I'll keep an eye on it.
no ill feelings towards it. I at this stage, it doesn't seem like something that needs to be made, but
No,
as you said, if he's going with the if that direction of like the election, the fake news
mhm,
side of thing, that's all interesting. That could definitely open
totally.
up a lot of conversations. I'm like, does it then go into like the fact that Facebook, like, like the meta stuff with the Instagram, and does it
Totally.
then go
Yeah.
on to like how essentially Facebook trickled down into like every other form of social media? Like, is that the kind
Yes.
of thing?
Yeah.
Will like Jesse Eisenberg comes back? Will we get Mr. Justin Timberlake? Will he come back?
He make his grand
Will Army
return.
Hammer return as the Winklevoss twin? Like, it'll be very interesting to see where. And you know what? I think it's funny. It's like, or they don't need to get necessarily Jesse Eisenberg and get someone who looks like him because Mark Zuckerberg doesn't really look like Mark Zuckerberg anymore.
No, he's had
So,
what the kids call a glow up. So the initial release of this says the film will explore Facebook's influence on the 2020 election,
yeah.
its impact on teenagers, its connection to
Mm.
violence, and its role in shaping events beyond the United States. So it's just basically seems like a is social media causing the downfall of society sort of film, which I think
Which,
Aaron Sorkin can explore quite
yeah,
interestingly.
like if it, like
Does Mark
it
Zuckerberg
doesn't.
need to be part of that
Well,
film?
that's the thing. It doesn't need to be a social network movie. Like,
No.
yeah, like social network as two words together, meaning the social
Oh,
network of every.
yeah.
Like, yes,
Create the
but
social network cinematic universe. Yeah,
It
totally.
doesn't need. Yeah, it doesn't need. Or if you get if you get Jesse Eisenberg, Mark Zuckerberg, like maybe he's like it's a cameo or it's a one scene sort of thing
Do you know
because
what? Do you know what
he's
you do?
commenting on
You
stuff.
have
But
you have all these scenes of Donald Trump sending out tweets and Facebook messages and stuff, and then it's like, and at this point, this is what Mark Zuckerberg was doing, and he's still in that room refreshing Erica's friend request page, and it's been fucking 15 years later, and he's like,
but
she'll accept the invite one day.
yeah, I don't like. Yeah,
It's interesting.
I don't know if it needs to be a sequel,
Totally. Yeah.
but like it'll be interesting to see where it goes.
Social Network Part 2 gets the funding and it gets people
Yeah,
excited. It wouldn't
yeah.
shock me if there's like another title that they're working
Um,
with.
but you know what? Social network movie I think really needs to be made. Whatever the hell happened to Tom and MySpace?
Where is Tom
Everyone,
now?
everyone's first friend. There's your title right there.
Yep. Everyone's first friend. I
Um,
like that.
the MySpace story.
Are
Come
you
on.
writing it?
Yeah,
How's Emmett Pete? Write it.
I don't have the brain capacity
Or
to write
time.
that. No, all the time.
All the time to
But
do it.
if anybody wants to take everyone's first friend and credit me, go for it.
Quickly put a trademark on
A
that
patent, yeah,
stat.
patent pending,
Yeah.
patent pending, patent pending. But no, yeah, it was very surprising news.
Totally. I was
Um,
surprised.
but Aaron Sorkin being involved gives me hope.
It does too. There was one more piece of surprising news for me, and this is a bit more of an uplifting, surprising news
Right?
story, and I'm excited to add this one in. Rick Moranis is coming out of acting retirement for Spaceballs 2, which was announced by Mel Brooks himself that they're making the film, but Rick Moranis is coming back and Bill Pullman's coming back as well. I'm so excited for this movie. I got chills just talking about it,
Right?
actually.
Spaceballs is one like
It's so good.
it's like there are certain movies that I guess like define childhood.
Yeah.
Spaceballs is that I can like the I could sit down and watch that movie and probably like almost quote it beginning to end.
Merchandising.
I think it is one
Merchandising.
I think it is one of the smartest, funniest like spoof
Yeah,
films.
absolutely.
It's like
Man, we
I'm
ain't found shit.
oh that
It's so funny.
we were taking this a little bit literally. He said to comb the desert. We're combing the desert.
Going
Oh,
has
funny.
and
He
wait,
doesn't
has this part of the movie happened yet? No, not yet. Is it now? It's
just what
right
we
now.
need. A Druish princess. Huh. She doesn't look Druish. Like, come on. So good. Um, I'm so excited that first of all, Mel Brooks still being alive is the
Mel
greatest.
Brooks is like in his mid
I
90s
like
and he's
90.
still like
Oh,
Spaceballs 2, bitches. And
um,
he produced the History of the World Part 2 TV show a few
yes.
years ago. Like he's
Um,
active.
he makes great like he's like some of his spoof films aren't all that great,
No, oh, but
but
that's the parody genre, right?
yeah,
Like
but I mean, Spaceballs is
I've
just
laughed in every one of his films though.
oh yeah, Robin Hood Men in Tights
I love
is
that.
great. I
What are you
mean,
in here for? Jaywalking.
there's
It's so
still
fucking good.
there's one joke in Dracula Dead and Loving It that will forever be one of the
That's
funniest
actually
things.
one I haven't seen yet. I need to watch
Like
Dracula Dead and Loving It. Yeah.
like there's like the pile of ash from
Mm,
a Dracula being from a vampire being
right.
burnt, and he literally draws two dots and a smiley face and is like, "You look like your old self again." Like it's so dumb, but it's so funny.
I love that.
I'm so excited. They need to call it Spaceballs 2: The Search for More Money to play back the joke from
The
the
joke
first.
in the first film. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like, that'll be a missed opportunity if that doesn't
Oh,
happen.
absolutely.
But Bill Pullman coming back,
Yeah.
amazing. Rick Moranis coming out of retirement. I like that is a massive deal. Of like if you
Huge.
know why Rick Moranis stepped away from acting, like it's
Yes. Yeah.
incredibly
It's a heartbreaking personal
heartbreaking.
story.
But the fact that this is the movie that gets him out
Well, he didn't come
means
back for the Ghostbusters films, right? That's what
that goes
everyone's talking about.
that goes to show like Mel Brooks is
Yeah.
like obviously like Mel Brooks is like a international treasure. Like,
Yeah.
come
Oh,
on.
God, yeah.
And it shows how much he obviously loves playing Dark Helmet. I also believe Daphne Zuniga is coming
She
back to
is.
play
Yep.
Princess Vespa. I don't know what's going to happen with Barf because obviously that was played by John
John
Candy.
Candy, who's passed away. Yeah.
I have heard Josh Gad is
Okay.
involved in this film. I've also heard that they're trying to get Lewis Pullman to
Oh,
play
that'd be fun.
um, Lone Star's son because
Like
if
the
you
Ben
don't know,
Solo, Han
Lewis
Solo.
Pullman is Bill Pullman's son.
Oh, yes.
Um,
Very, very good actors
no,
in both
I'm
regards.
just like this makes me so
Elated, yeah.
happy because like my God,
And
like
this is
we need good
exciting.
reviews as well.
This is exciting in the sense like we're getting Naked Gun this year, which is a
Which
continuation of this iconic
looks
parody franchise, which looks hilarious.
oh my God, the man's laughter joke
So
fucking
good.
floored. I
So
was like,
fucking funny.
that is
Just
so
the
and
OJ picture joke in the teaser
the OJ
trailer is
picture joke, like
so
the
funny.
fact that Liam Neeson is like deadpan
The
playing it
whole
so straight.
I loved it's so random and it's very much Lonely Island coded who produced the film and Akiva Schaffer
Yeah,
has directed this Naked
yeah,
Gun requel, I guess, in scare in Scream terms.
yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
the teaser before the full trailer where he's just in the car and he's like eating the chili dog.
Yeah,
Mate, I pissed myself laughing and I was like, it's not even funny. It's
it's not
just
even
him
funny.
spilling chili dog over himself, and it was
Um,
great.
and
But
like
it was
I'm
Liam
really
Neeson. That's why it's funny.
and like obviously Pamela Anderson's having this kind of resurgence
Yeah.
after the last Showgirl, but she filmed Naked Gun before like she had the
Oh, interesting.
awards push. Um,
Okay.
like Pamela Anderson has always been really, really good at like playing the dumb blonde. Like she's
Yes.
actually got incredible comedic
Oh,
timing.
she's hilarious. Yeah.
Um, so I'm really excited like for this to also be another like
Vehicle
feather
for
in her
her.
cap to be like, okay, like
Have
we're
you
giving
seen the latest poster where it was like there was
where
no
it's no
AI
AI.
used in this poster and he's got like nine fingers holding the gun?
Oh,
It's
like
too funny.
it's so good. No, and it's kind of like, yeah, Naked Gun, Spaceball 2, like
Space
we're
Force.
getting like a scary
Scary
movie.
Movie
Big,
6. Yeah.
like, let's get these like when parody movies are done well.
Oh man.
And there's so much that they can like
Yeah.
what the kind of things that Spaceballs 2 could riff on is
Oh, it's
endless.
got 40 years of Star
Like,
Wars to play with and
yeah,
just sci-fi films in general. Like it,
yeah,
I'm so excited. So that was
yeah,
some happy news. And like
yeah,
Rick Moranis coming out of retirement just brought so much
yeah.
happiness to my face.
But no, but the was that your that was
That's
your
my three. So
so
fire away.
so the movie news that I heard that I guess it shouldn't surprise me, but I'm like, really, this is what we're doing? So Vin Diesel has
Yeah,
has
no,
been
I'd
like
already written our notes before this came out.
has been like 2027, we're getting Fast 11. And we're like, great. And he's like,
Awesome.
I have
Finally.
three. And he's like, I've got three conditions. And like, great. What are your three conditions? I want it to be filmed in,
Before you say this, can I just point out this was also announced at Fuel Fest
yeah,
in LA. So he did this on stage at a car fest music festival.
yeah,
I think the
yeah.
video was wild, but please, sorry, continue. It's
But he's
wild.
like, I have three conditions. I want to film this in LA, bring it back to LA. And everyone's like, great. We
Oh.
need more movies filmed in LA. Yeah, let's do that. And he's like, awesome. Second condition, we're going back to basics. We'll bring it back to like street racing. And you're like, oh,
Car
yes.
culture.
So
Yeah.
good. I'm like, I don't know how you're gonna do that from the end of Fast X, but like, yeah,
No.
like we're all for it. Yes, and he's like, third condition, bringing Brian O'Connor back. And you're like, what?
How?
You're like, Paul Walker
Mr.
has
Diesel.
passed away.
Mr. Diesel, I have questions.
I'm look, we love the Fast and Furious series.
Oh, we
Like,
as terrible as they've gotten in the last few, there
yeah,
is a reverence I have for the insanity of this franchise. I
yeah,
own all of them. I
yeah,
have watched all of them multiple times.
yeah.
My excitement for Fast X Part 2, which it's still kind of working under at the moment,
Uh,
is unparalleled. Maybe only matched by yourself. But
because like we've got the amount of people that rocked up in Fast X that we're like, are you all continuing on? Like Charlize,
yep,
Dwayne,
Dwayne's
Gal
back.
Gadot. I don't want to hear
Momo.
any hit like this is not just me speaking from someone who obviously loves Mr. Momoa. His performance in Fast X
Best
is
villain in the
incredible.
franchise.
He is having a ball. He's so much fun. So I'm very interested to see how they grab the outlandishness of Fast X and then somehow bring that back to being about street racing and stealing DVD players the way
Do
that
you
the first.
think the end of Fast X, where he's driving down the exploding dam, he just takes a left turn and he's back in LA? And he's like, that was crazy. Anyway, I
What?
got a race to get to tonight.
Um,
Brian, come along.
like Fast, obviously Fast 7, Furious 7.
Yes.
Um, that like that movie is like as much as I've loved 8, 9, and 10,
Hmm.
in some ways Furious 7 could have been or should have been the end because it ended so beautifully with Dom driving off one area, Brian driving off to another, and
Yeah.
it was very much basically being like, we
It,
are aware that Paul Walker has
it's
sadly
a
passed
it's a
away.
truly like not many movies do it well, but that is a beautiful send off. It's a very
Yeah,
lovely send off.
yeah. And they, obviously Paul Walker had filmed however much a Furious 7, and they needed to like pad it out, and they did it as well as they could with
Yeah.
like
And
with
quite
with
respectfully as well. Like it was,
it
yeah,
was
yeah.
very respectful. Like the brothers all stepping in and being like, "We'll be his body double in shots where you don't need his face, and then in
Yeah.
shots where you do need his face." Because the brothers, like I think
They're
Cody
quite
Walker
Cody Walker, yeah,
is
quite similar in
look quite similar. So we'll just sort of fine tune it a little bit so that we can see Paul Walker. But
yep.
there's never any scenes where Paul Walker is. I don't think there's any scenes where Paul Walker is actually talking where it's like they've.
I
I
can't
think
remember. I think it's just not talking, but I think it's just the final
yeah,
moment where
we just see his
it's
face.
him in the car. Yeah.
Um. So
To kind of
I'm
undo that is,
yeah, like
I
I
don't
don't
love it.
we don't need like we've all very much accepted the fact that Paul Walker has sadly passed away, and in the Fast and Furious universe, he is living his best life, retired, and
Yeah.
he's got
Despite Jordana Brewster coming in and being
Jordana
the
Brewster is sort of
proxy. Yeah.
holding the fort down, and it's like we all know that Brian is essentially dead.
So
Like
yeah, 100%. It's
so
the rare
I'm
time where real life and film crosses, and
yeah.
it's just this
So
understanding that audiences have.
I'm very, very worried that because we've seen it with like the Star Wars movies, we saw
Hmm.
it in Alien Romulus, where they're
Hmm.
like, we'll bring back a deceased actor with AI technology.
Yeah.
And it rarely ever looks good.
Yes, agreed.
And you like I don't know if the intention is to bring back him for like one scene or
Hmm.
something, but the best thing to do is if you want to bring Brian back, like and maybe this is a cop out, but have a funeral scene. Like
Yeah.
have them all gathered around and being like, I don't know. I don't want this AI
I
scene with
no,
Paul Walker.
I don't need an AI Paul Walker to be Brian O'Connor. I don't
Because
necessarily want it to be a recast as
Because
well. Like it
because
just
all it's doing is just reminding us like how
that he's no longer
tragic it
with us.
is,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know? Like it's sometimes you watch the Fast and Furious movies and you're just like, my God, like when he's not with us anymore. Like
Yeah, it's
he was
heartbreaking. Yeah.
he was 40 years old when he passed away,
Mm.
which is wild.
Wild. Yeah.
He passed away 13 years ago as well.
Yeah. Fuck, time
Like
flies, right? Like,
I don't want this at all.
no.
I'm a Fast and Furious lover, and I'm here for Fast 11,
Mm.
but I Vin Diesel don't do this. Like don't
And
bring him
it
back for this.
doesn't I don't think it's coming from a place of maliciousness from Vin
No,
as well, because obviously
I
his love for
like
Paul
you're
Walker
off.
is very well
Yeah.
documented.
And
Like,
like his daughter is named after Paul Walker.
exactly. Yeah.
And
Like,
he loves him so
but
much.
he
So it's
just
like
strikes me as the guy who's very much, and this is not a dig, but it's like an emotion before logic
yeah,
sort of
yeah.
person.
Well
Like
yeah,
he's
well
very
like
driven. You look at that feud with The Rock. You look at some of the decisions he's made with some of the films that he's done. He's very much like he can't distinguish the two. I'm not a
yeah.
fucking therapist either. Like I'm not, or a
He's like
psychologist or
no,
whatever. But
it's
like
like he pulls the trigger before he's loaded the gun, essentially.
100%, yeah, yeah. And unfortunately, this kind of feels like a misfire. But
So who
I'll
like
always
maybe
wait to see what they
that's it.
do. But
Maybe like yeah, maybe the big wigs at Universal will go, we'll give you the first two things.
this and that
Or
also, it's a great point. It's a very Vin Diesel thing to be like, I'm announcing this at Fuel Fest, and Universal's like, sorry, what?
yeah,
You're doing
be
what?
like,
Sorry.
would you like us to fund your $200 million action movie? So like, let's just ease
Sorry,
up.
200 million's just for that fucking cast alone. We need to give him
Uh,
another 200 to make the
um,
fucking movie too.
but like, I'm excited we're getting Fast 11
Oh, I need the
because
closure.
I need the closure. Like, I need
I
it.
want the closure.
Fast 10 just ends too
Oh,
abruptly. Like,
it's a
I need it.
cliffhanger. Back when we were getting
Um,
three-part finale.
yeah. So yeah, it'll be interesting.
Interesting is the right way to put that.
We've got to wait and see what the
We'll wait and see.
repercussions of this because people
2027. No,
are
that
not
the reactions
happy.
haven't been good.
And we've also got to be like Paul Walker's family have probably got to sign off on a lot of stuff as well.
I would assume
But
so.
you know what? If the brothers, if there's a way to do it that the brothers are like okay with and
Yeah.
they sign up, then then great. Like if the family are on board and they give their
Well,
likeness
that's
and
the
it's
thing.
like,
If
we've got to see what this
when
is.
you
But right
can't get
now,
the permission of the person because they have
yeah,
sadly passed, the court of public opinion shouldn't fucking matter. It's the
no,
same thing with the Ian Holmes stuff in Alien Romulus. He has passed away, so the next in line is his family, and they said yes. If you
yeah,
don't like it as an audience member, you just don't like it, but you don't have a say in
yeah,
that.
and
So,
like,
like you said, if Paul
yeah,
Walker's family are okay with it, if it's getting done respectfully
yeah,
and it works, cool, set the precedent for like how we can do this in the
yeah.
future. I don't love
Um,
it, but like if it works, it works.
and like, I don't know, like, yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they do it. If it's
Yeah,
going to be one, if it's going to be one scene,
sure. Yeah.
I don't want this to be like Brian O'Connor is like a main character
No,
or anything.
no.
Um, I don't know, just yeah,
We will
but
see.
it's one of those things. Great, we're finally getting Fast 11.
Mm.
But I just yeah, this is a bit of a
We need a bit more info and we need a little bit
yeah.
more.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I need to know what is actually happening rather than yeah,
we'll
we'll give
see.
you full
Come
feedback.
2027, we will see. But that is a
Yeah.
lot of movie news that has come out in the
Mm.
last week, and we will definitely be doing more movie news stuff in future episodes where we only have one film to review, which this week is
Yeah.
Jurassic World Rebirth. But before we get into that, as always, let's crack into the Australian box office results from the weekend gone. And we're starting outside the top five because a movie that was released this weekend, Mithrigan 2.0, debuted at number seven.
Ooh.
$431,000, which unfortunately I think we kind of have to say is a first week bomb. Like, that's pretty bad.
Um yeah, so obviously like in the States this also came in
About 10
10
million,
million
right?
under projections. And I think this is a case of, as we spoke about, in the last episode, like, was Amigan 2 something people wanted?
Sure.
Did the fact that it kind of went against its horror roots
Mm-hmm. Did it
damage it
hurt
in
that?
any
Yeah.
way? But I also want to say,
Mm.
like, okay, $10 million opening compared to the $30 million at the original made opening weekend. Yeah, okay.
Mhm.
About massive downgrade. But and it was the same, it reminded me of Happy Death Day. Happy
Sure.
Death Day,
Oh, you tweeted about
massive
this, yeah.
opening, gets the sequel, Happy Death Day to You, doesn't make as much money.
Mhm.
But I think we've got to remember that Megan 2's budget is $25 million. So a $10
Totally.
million opening, and I think it made like $18 million worldwide.
Yep.
This will be
A
a
financially
success.
successful movie.
This
Yeah.
will be a financial success, but everyone will forget because it doesn't make as much money as
As the
Megan.
first. Yeah.
So this movie will be a success either way.
Yeah.
It's just not going to be the kind of success that people.
Especially when it hits VOD and when it hits
Yeah,
Blu-ray and DVD, like it will
yeah.
make money back for sure.
So it's always just amusing when people are like, "Oh my God, it's like tanked opening weekend." I'm like, it made half its budget back opening weekend.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
usually a sign
It's
that
a
a
pretty
movie
good
does
sign.
well. So, like, you look at it and just go, its budget is $25 million and it made 10. The further, like in the States,
Mhm.
F1 makes what, $55 million
Something
dollars.
like that. Yeah, yeah.
Its budget's $200 million. None of you are
No
crying
one's,
foul
yeah.
about it flopping when technically looking at it, Megan made more of its budget back than F1 did.
Yes. Yeah.
So
It's
it's
funny
yeah,
that, yeah.
it's all that sort of
The
stuff.
double
But
standard of
but
projection
op- but
analysis.
opening at number seven is
That's more
that's
the
not
indicator for me. Like
that's
the
yeah,
money, not so much, but like, yeah, number seven behind movies that have already been out for almost a month now
yeah,
is not great. So one of those movies that was behind number five is Material at $690,000. So less than a
okay,
50% drop, which is third week in the box office.
yeah.
It's one of
For
A24's most successful
for
films.
yeah, for a movie that everyone was like, not a romantic comedy. I'm like, no, it's not. But it
And
doesn't mean
it's
it's not
done
a good
well.
movie, and it's still holding at number five. So that's great.
Number four, Lilo and Stitch at $769,000, still well on its way to the $1 billion mark,
Yeah,
which I do think it will reach. School holidays kicking off officially this week,
yeah,
so I'm sure we'll see a little bump with that as well. Number three, horror holding strong. 28 years later, 1.2, basically $1.3 million at
Nice.
number three. I think word of mouth got out there. I think
Yeah.
people, whether or not, because there was divisive reactions, there was divisive reviews,
Yeah.
a lot of talk about Zombie Cock. I think people got interested and sort of hung
Yeah.
around and went and saw it second weekend if they didn't catch it the first time. So
Yeah.
this is another one I want to rewatch. I'm unfortunately probably not going to contribute too much to the box office because I have a pass to go see it, but I do want to go watch it again. But I think there is some potential rewatch value as well for that. So, but like you said last week, horror holding strong.
Yeah.
Number two, How to Train Your Dragon,
There we go.
$2.7 million, still an absolute behemoth. I think it's past about 14 million in Australia, which is huge.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
massive,
Like you almost just go, that's like the equivalent of like $150 million in the
big
U
time,
like US, basically. Yeah, yeah,
basically.
yeah.
And number one, no surprises, F1 the
Yeah.
movie, $7.7 million, winning
Wow.
the weekend.
That's huge.
Astronomical. Brad Pitt, the
Wow.
fucking movie star, $7.7 million.
Jesus. Wow.
Yeah. Premium format, so IMAX. You saw
Yeah.
it in Screen X. Obviously, it had all those screens as well.
Yeah.
Gold class, VMAX. It had everything.
And you know what? Like, this just makes me happy that people are still going to the movies. Like
Event movies, right? They're
we hear
here
so
in
much
cinema.
about like, oh, I'll just wait till it's, at home, blah blah blah. But I'm like, $7.7 million. Like,
But this is the thing, right? Yes, I agree. Watching movies at home is still really fun, sure. But the fact that F1 was like, this is a movie to be watched in the
in the
cinema,
cinema.
go what like they were pretty much like, this is the guy who made Top Gun Maverick, and you all fucking loved that. Go
Yeah.
watch his next movie. It's got a movie star, it's got insane racing scenes, and then bang, $7.7 million. And like you said, what, 100 and something, 140 something million worldwide or something for
Yeah,
Top Gun
like something
weekend.
ridiculous.
Crazy.
Yeah. No, that's it. Yeah, that makes me happy that the supposed dying art of cinema is not quite dead yet.
Not dead at all, and I think it is a movie we will be seeing in for a few weeks
I think so. Yeah,
in the
yeah.
box office there, and rightfully so. 144 million worldwide box office
There
opening
you go.
weekend for
Yeah,
F1, the
yeah.
film. Another film I think we're definitely going to see based on its track record of box office success coming out this week is the film we're going to review right now, Jurassic World Rebirth.
On the island we're headed to, 24 species have survived there alone.
The theme park owners did experimental work, leaving only the worst ones here.
5 years to do holy fucking shit. It's a dinosaur. 5 years post Jurassic World Dominion, bleh, an expedition braves isolated equatorial regions to extract DNA from three massive prehistoric creatures for a groundbreaking medical breakthrough. Jurassic World Rebirth. It is the fourth Jurassic World film, but the seventh installment in the Jurassic franchise. Directed by Gareth Edwards of Rogue One, A Star Wars Story, and Godzilla fame, and the creator fame. Written by David Koepp, who was the screenwriter or co-screenwriter of the original Jurassic World. So it's a standalone sequel. So it is a Jurassic World film, but it's not directly connected to the Jurassic World trilogy following on from Dominion. The film stars Scarlett Johansson, Mahershala Ali, Jonathan Bailey, Slutty Little Glasses, Rupert Friend, Manuel Garcia Rulfo, and Ed Skrein. Skrein? Screen. Doesn't matter. Spoiler alert: he doesn't last long in the movie. um. So we are on record, I think, from when we did monthly movie marathon for Jurassic World Dominion, that
Mm,
we have a fair affinity for the Jurassic Park trilogy, in probably
yeah,
descending order. Like Jurassic Park is perfect, Lost World is really good, 3 is entertaining.
yeah,
We liked Jurassic World,
yeah.
and we fucking hated Fallen Kingdom and Dominion. They are two trash heap films.
Yeah, yeah.
So knowing that, going into Rebirth, knowing it was directed by Gareth Edwards, who I think is a very cinematic director. I think he's a
Mhm.
visually very cinematic director. I don't think all of the stories of the films he's done are perfect, but I still like Gareth Edwards as a filmmaker.
Mm.
What was your thoughts going into Rebirth? And then you walked out thinking, what?
So like Jurassic Park, as you said, perfect. Lost World, underrated.
Hmm.
Jurassic Park 3, really fun.
It's a really entertaining, it's a
Gets a lot more
90-minute
hate.
dinosaur action film.
Gets a lot more hate than it should.
Totally.
Really loved the way that they kind of then rebirthed it with Jurassic World. Like I really
Totally.
liked Jurassic World. I had a lot of fun with it.
Hmm.
Yeah, Fallen Kingdom and Dominion. Why those movies made $1 billion, I will never know. They
We'll never
are
know.
they are shitty, shitty films.
It's worth
Um,
pointing out all Jurassic World films made over $1 billion at the box office. That's why we're getting
um,
Rebirth so quickly after.
so Rebirth was one of those situations where after like the trailer for Fallen Kingdom had me excited,
Yeah.
and then the actuality of Fallen Kingdom, I was like, meh. And then the trailer for Dominion, I was like, man, maybe this will be good.
They're
Like
bringing
the
back the
Dominion,
OG cast.
you
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
And then the Dominion, I was like, meh.
Dominion somehow was worse than Fallen
So
Kingdom. I don't know how that
I was
happened.
like, I have been burned twice before because I liked the trailer for Rebirth. I was like, oh my God, this looks so cool.
Mhm.
Like, and but
It
I'm like,
looked like it was going to be like horror,
yeah.
this fucked up mutant dinosaur.
And I was like, but I've been here before.
Been here
So
before.
just walk this tightrope very, very carefully.
Hmm.
I was like, Gareth Edwards, incredible director.
It's a big pull for
And
me.
then I
Yeah.
was also like, I was like, Scarlett Johansson,
Great
Mahershala
cast.
Ali, Jonathan Bailey.
Great cast.
I was just like, this is a good cast.
Mhm.
And I'm like, Scarlett Johansson's kind of at that point in her career where she's not making bad movies.
Well, she's very much picking what she wants to do,
Yeah.
right?
Like Mahershala Ali, this is, DOS Oscars.
He's a fucking
Um,
Oscar winner.
Obviously Blade, whatever's going to happen with Blade.
I think it's dead.
Yeah.
What it sounds like.
Jonathan Bailey, he's like making those blockbuster moves. Got a great agent.
Mhm.
So I was optimistic, but
Sure.
also very careful that I'm like, we've been here before. So let's just, you know what? It can have all the amazing things on paper, doesn't mean it's going to execute correctly.
Sure.
So by the time that we went in to see Jurassic World Rebirth, there was a few reactions
A couple.
out.
Yeah. Totally. Yeah.
And most of the reactions were positive. I did see some negative, and I was like, okay, like that's not uncommon to see both.
Mhm.
I'm not going to let either sway me. I'm just going to sit and enjoy Jurassic World Rebirth and let the chips fall where they may.
Yeah.
And
We saw it at fucking 10 o'clock in the morning.
10 o'clock in the morning.
We were both relaxed. We were chilled. We were both like, this is like our last screening for a couple of days, for a week.
At this point, we had like the interviews with one of the interviews with like the interview with Gareth Edwards was confirmed.
Some
They were
cast
still
members were floating around.
like
So
the
we were
cast
like,
members. They were like, and we were like,
we were
great,
crazy. We
like,
were
this is
excited.
great. And had a ball with this one. Like
Yeah.
this one, real like it's like one of the closest things to the original in terms of it bringing back more of like a horror mindset.
In parts, I would agree. I was hoping for more, but there are scenes where I was like, this is the movie that I
It's got
really wanted.
some great set pieces.
Incredible set
We'll
pieces,
just say there's a T-Rex raft scene, which is like
that will go down as like an iconic Jurassic Park scene
yeah.
for sure. It's very well done.
The cast all work really, really well.
There is a reveal in that T-Rex scene where an object gets moved and then moved again, and the T-Rex is not there. And all of us, we saw it with two of our friends. We saw, and we all went, "Oh!" It was great.
Yeah,
like it's working when you have a visceral reaction.
Like it's probably to me it's probably it's the best of the Jurassic World movies.
It's
It kind of
it's going back and forth with the
Jurassic
first
World,
one.
and
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
it goes back and forth for me.
They both sit in a
Um,
similar camp to me of like they're not actually great movies, but they're very entertaining. Like I
yeah,
don't care too much for the stories. This one has a far more basic story than any of the Jurassic World
but
films.
I also
Very
like that.
straightforward, but I
But I
liked it.
I like that this story is very basic, where
I
it's like,
agree.
look,
I agree.
and it does the typical thing of like, there's a cure for cancer in one of these
Yeah, was
dinosaurs.
it like heart disease or some
So
shit,
like
right? Yeah,
left,
yeah, yeah.
and I was like, well, that never works for anybody. Like Anaconda, that they
It's
killed,
the exact
it's like
same thing. Yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah.
like that never works out well. But I don't care because I want to see evil corporate people get what's coming to them. I want
100%.
I want to see Scarlett Johansson like in full action heroine mode.
Which she does go. Yep.
He does go. Jonathan Bailey's walking about like he's just a little cutie patootie, and we love him for it. Then you've
He's
got the
great.
fam.
He is great in this film
He's
too.
really great. Then we've got the family dynamic, and I really
Yep.
like that. I really liked how that story was weaved in, where it's like there's a reason why we have these civilians in
Yeah.
this like
I'll
peril.
I'll comment on that real quick. I thought the initial introduction was clunky.
Okay,
There's a clunkiness for me in the first half that is rectified in the second half, and it
right,
feels a lot more seamless. But there was a point where halfway through that family's introduction, I was like, "This is like a whole other movie happening." Right? It was a bit too like drawn out for me, and then
right,
the
okay,
action scene. So it was a little bit clunky, but the eventual like reason they all get together, I was like,
yeah,
"This now works." I was like, the ends doesn't justify the journey or the means,
right,
but it was still entertaining enough.
yeah,
I think that's this film's biggest issue is that for the first half, it's a little bit all over the place. It's a little bit clunky
okay,
and could have been like a little bit shorter. Second half of the movie, when they're on the island
mm,
or after the first like extraction scene,
yeah,
this movie's like fucking like 100 miles an hour. It's all Jurassic action,
yeah.
really fun sort of stuff. It just is like a little bit, yeah, just clunky to start with. That's just me
Right.
personally, though.
No, but yeah, it was just after like after Fallen Kingdom and Dominion,
Oh shit!
like
This is a gold. This is a gold-plated
yeah,
fucking Michelin star meal compared to
yeah.
those movies. Yeah.
And yeah, it's just everyone's just having a really, really good time. Like I think that's the thing. You can
It
tell
is
people are
fun.
enjoying themselves.
It
Yeah.
is really fun, and everyone is involved in at least one like great action sequence. So you
Yes.
see
Yeah, yeah.
Jonathan Bailey's in the trailer with the flying dinosaurs. I'm not going to try and name all these dinosaurs, but the one you see in the trailer with the flying dinosaur, actually, probably people should know, probably happens a lot later in the film than you would expect.
Oh, is this when he's the
They're trying
war?
to extract from the egg, and then called. So
That
he gets
scene
his
that
right.
scene is great.
The
Yeah.
Herschela gets his big action scene towards
Mhm.
the end, which is great. Scarlett gets her scene. The kids, the family get the T-Rex raft scene, which is incredible. Like everyone gets these like awesome action moments to
Mm.
shine. I think the movie opens really strong. Loved
Yeah.
the opening scene.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where I thought the tone was more going to go. This like
Right.
mutant dinosaur horror film. We get aspects and we get like droplets of that.
Yeah.
I would love to see more of that in the future.
I
I
will
want them to go back to the island and have to deal with this fucked up
I
dinosaur.
will say the reveal of that dinosaur, I was like, this
I
is
got
like
chills, actually.
I was like, this is some alien shit.
It is.
Like,
It very much is so. And Gareth Edwards talked about that
yeah.
when in our interview. He was like, his first film, Monster, which is
Mm.
about big monster alien creatures that have settled in Mexico. That he was like, that was kind of my audition for a Jurassic World film. He's always wanted to make like fucked up mutant, like what happened to the dinosaurs where the DNA stuff went wrong.
Yeah.
We've had Jurassic World films where it's gone perfectly right. They've
Yeah.
recreated dinosaurs, or they've created the more like the Indominus Rex, which is like an even
Mm.
more heightened. What happened to the ones where they fucked up and we
Mm.
got these disgusting mutant killers out there? That's what I want to see in a Jurassic World film. That excites
yeah.
me.
Well, because it's funny, because like when I was speaking to him and I sort of said
Also,
like,
he was a great interview, by the way.
oh, he's incredible.
So cool to talk to.
When I was talking to him about like, was it a case of honoring
Sure.
Spielberg and
Yeah,
putting
yeah.
a stamp on it? And he was just like, he's like, Spielberg's such a good director.
He's a master.
He was like, I kind of ended up like almost just jacking his style.
He said the same thing. He was like, I was
And
trying
he
to do
was,
my best impersonation of a Steven Spielberg film.
and he was just like, and he's like, Spielberg's actually like a really great director, and you're like, oh, really? So,
I
and
think
he
he
was
was being a
just,
bit coy with that.
yeah,
Yeah.
and he was just saying like he was saying like when he watched the original,
Mm.
he was shocked at how many jokes are in the original.
Right. Yeah. It's
And
funny.
he
Yeah.
was like, he's like, yeah, you don't walk out of Jurassic Park going, it's a comedy, but he's like, but it's very funny. You
Mhm.
don't walk out of Jurassic Park going, it's a horror movie, but it's got some
But
really scary moments. And
yeah,
he was doing that with Jurassic World Rebirth as well.
sure.
There were some like laugh out loud
Yeah. Yeah.
comedy moments. There are some like scary
Mm.
horror moments. And
There's some great action moments. Like it's
yeah,
a really
and like
fun action film.
and everybody that's obviously been on the Slidey Little Glasses train won't be disappointed.
I saw that clip you put up's done quite
But
well too.
but
The
we've
Slutty Little Glasses
we've
train.
also got to shout out Slidey Little Mustaches as well. So
Don't we all?
which
Don't we all?
Nick has got one right
Trying
now.
to sport one at the moment. My slutty little
Um,
moustache.
but I was very happy that when I mentioned that to Manuel, he was like,
Mm.
"I'm Zaddy," and I was like, "Hell yeah!"
It was funny.
He's like, "I just learned what Zaddy is." I'm like, "This is amazing. This is the best thing ever." So
I
yeah,
think I think even though the story for me was a bit clunky and there's definitely some character work that grew on me over the film. Initially I was like I
right, yeah,
wanted certain characters to die pretty early on. There is a
we
great chemistry between all the cast, and I got to talk,
yes,
we both got to talk with the younger cast members of this
yeah,
film, the family,
yeah, yeah.
and
Luna
boyfriend of the film.
Blaze, Audrina Miranda, and David Yacono. Yeah,
Yeah, and their chemistry in the film is great. Like there's this
Mm.
authentic bond between them, and that obviously came through in the interview as well. But even Mahershala Ali and Scarlett Johansson's character, I love that we didn't get all their backstory, but that
but
felt
there's
very authentic.
yeah, like you can tell that these are people that have like worked together
For years. And then
and
Jonathan
have
Bailey
become
comes into that crew and he sort of assimilates quite well with that as well. So
yeah.
I was like, yeah, I thought it worked out, reasonably well.
Yeah. We will say this movie, there probably are more survivors than I think people will expect.
It's one of my gripes, but I'm also like, we're leaving
But
ourselves open for more.
that's
Gareth
it.
Edwards
I was like,
Jurassic Worlds.
I mean, it very much feels like this is the start of another trilogy.
Big time. It ends on the fact that like they may have to go back to this island.
I will quickly say I do like because obviously I think it was the Fallen Kingdom,
Mm.
they talk about the fact that I think it ends on the shot of like the dinosaurs kind of out there
In the world.
in the real
Yeah,
world. And then Dominion does nothing
Nothing
with
with
that.
that. Except for that one weird action
yeah.
scene in like that European country. Which
but I was very happy that Rebirth acknowledges that, and there's like a dinosaur. There's a dinosaur in the middle of like New York City, and
that's causing traffic jams.
But everybody is just so like, oh, like this again. Like I like that it's just like, okay, there's a dinosaur out.
Is a good thing to bring up. Is that like where it takes place in the chronology fucking hell, the chronology of the Jurassic Park or the Jurassic World films, is enough years later where they've gone like, we can kind of clean this up.
Yes.
Enough years have passed where we can go like, the dinosaurs are actually going back to the wild, the ones that have survived. They're saying like a lot of dinosaurs have died again. It's like the re-extinction almost, which is why Rebirth is a really good title.
Yeah.
Because they kind of go, there's this island where they're still there and they're thriving, and we're bringing that DNA back into the world. So it's interesting. It's definitely setting itself up for a new franchise with
and it does shout out a Jurassic Park character.
It does.
So
Yeah, it references it within.
Very much in all. And I will say, I feel like
it does a good job of not being too on the nose with some of that stuff as well.
Yeah.
I gotta respect that.
And I must say, and this is something, and I wish I brought this up with David in the chat, but I was also like, because he's with the two other
with Luna and Audrina, yeah.
But for a lot of the end of the movie, he's in an open black shirt, and I was like, that feels very Jeff Goldblum. That feels very Jeff Goldblum coded. So I'm assuming that was kind of a little bit of a nod because Jeff Goldblum.
I asked him a Jurassic Park question, and his knowledge of Jurassic Park was quite extensive. So maybe it was, it was whether intentional or not.
But it's a lot of fun.
It's a popcorn movie for sure.
And like what baffles me, this like a budget of $180 million is not a lot. Like for
For a
this kind of
franchise that has
movie,
consistently delivered at the
yeah,
box office, you
yeah,
kind of go, but this is also, I think, a testament to Gareth Edwards, who has managed to
yes.
pull off things like The Creator, which is one of the, if not the best film of
That
2023, but one
that
of the
was
best
like
looking films.
that was like under 100, wasn't it?
I think so. Yeah.
$70 million
Do
or
you know what's
something.
even crazier? And he said this in the interview. He was like, in 2024, I didn't even like. He told me a story about actually talking with Colin Trevorrow, who directed Jurassic World and Jurassic World
Hmm.
Dominion, on New Year's Eve 2023, going into 2024. He
Right.
was talking to him, and he was like, I didn't even know I was making a Jurassic World movie at that point. So he's pulled
Wow.
this movie out of his ass in under 18 months, and it
Well,
looks as good as it is, and it's as
yeah.
fun as it is.
So it kind of is like if this movie doesn't make $1 billion,
Hmm.
it'll probably still be safe because its budget is relatively
I
low.
think so. But it's
Um,
that Jurassic fucking name,
but
like people, and
I
it's Scarlett
yeah,
Johansson, like
yeah.
it's movie stars.
But it was funny mentioning that about that 18 months he's kind of turned around because when I was speaking to the kids,
Mm,
Luna was saying she was like it almost in some ways felt like an indie movie because
that's
she's like
cool.
because she's like there were so many sequences where she's like it was maybe just the actors, Gareth, a boom operator, a lens focuser, and someone else, and she's like so
Yeah.
it felt very
Intimate
intimate.
and
I
contained.
was like, and I think that you can
So
kind of
much of it's on
see
location as
that's
well.
it. I think the fact that this movie was on location, and Gareth also did say he's like we had that low. He's like, that release date was locked in. So he's like, so I only had a certain amount of time as well.
Far
And I'm like,
out.
okay. So
Yeah,
the
well, that's
fact
what is
that,
it? 4th of July weekend for the States,
yeah,
right? So it's,
but it's
I
opening
think it's trying to get, yeah,
Wednesday.
some early legs.
Yeah.
So,
But like perfect
oh,
4th of July,
incredible.
suit like summer, everyone's on holidays in the States.
Yeah.
Like, and then here it's like the second week of school holidays. Like
Yes. And
and
it's
it's
an
not,
M-rated film.
and
It's
it's not
like,
going up against any like it's opening pretty much solo.
oh, yeah, on its own,
Like
yeah, out of
yeah,
Hollywood releases.
and obviously there's holdovers from Lilo and How to Train Your Dragon and F1, but
Yep.
like this will absolutely kind of
This will definitely
dominate.
bring in a this will
Like
bring in a crowd, yeah.
yeah, like I'll be shocked if next week this isn't earning
If it's not
bonds of
number
money.
one, I'll be shocked. I'll
Yeah,
be genuinely
yeah,
shocked because I think
yeah.
audiences are really going to like this.
And if F1 is making $7 million in the state in Australia,
It
like
should be
surely Jurassic earns the same kind of amount.
or
So
close,
or
very close
close
at least, right?
because yeah. But no, it's if you like us have felt burned by the last two Jurassic movies,
Call the number on the screen
we can
and we'll help
absolutely
you out.
attest that this
It's
obliterate Fallen Kingdom and Dominion. Um,
100%.
and you get like
I want to I want to rewatch it before saying it's better than Jurassic World because I actually like Jurassic World. Like
I
I
like
don't
Jurassic
mind.
World. Well, see,
So,
I'm seeing Rebirth again this week.
okay.
And a part of me, I think I might watch Jurassic World
Just
tonight.
yeah, just to
Like,
see.
just to see.
I watched Jurassic Park last night and I was
Oh,
like,
I saw
fuck, I love this movie.
Jurassic, but you know what? With Jurassic Park, when rewatching it, you realize Richard Attenborough, he's so
He's a villain.
rude.
He's a villain.
He just walks into their camper and takes their wine.
Oh, he pops the champagne without asking them.
Champagne.
The
And
the bottle they've been holding. Yeah,
And
yeah.
like I know that he's like, you'll want it for this, but I'm like, that's their decision, mate.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I rewatching it as an adult, you're just like, you're kind of an
Also
asshole.
brings his grandchildren into a park that's not fully functional and
Yeah.
operational yet.
Yeah.
Hammond's a bit of a dick.
He's a bit of a dick,
But
but
he also
I d-
caused the reason we got 7 Jurassic films as well.
yeah. And I love how everyone realizes how young Laura Dern is and how old Sam Neill is, but you're like, it was never an issue then, you know?
Yes. Yeah, it's
Like,
yeah.
But it is baffling the age difference between them for
Oh,
sure.
big time. Big time.
But yeah, but Jurassic, it's such a perfect film. My
It's
God.
a fun movie. It's a goddamn
So
fun
good.
movie.
I liked your comment where you were like, even throughout it all, Sam Neill still plays a prank on the kids.
Oh, it's funny like bringing up though Gareth talking about how it's a funny movie.
Yeah.
They literally have just gone through Alan Grant and the two kids have gone through one of the most traumatic experiences getting attacked by a T-Rex and barely escaping with their lives.
Yeah.
And they're trying to climb a fence that might be electrocuted. He gets on the fence, fakes electrocution and scares the shit out of the kids and then laughs. And I was like, that's hilarious. That's fucking funny.
But I also like that really goes to show that you're terrible with kids. Like
Yeah,
you
it's true.
should
It's a
not
good point.
this whole thing has been like, I don't know how to relate to kids. So you think scaring them after a near-death experience is the best way to go. So you know what? That is character consistency right
Character
there.
consistency, and that's our Sam Neill. Jurassic World Rebirth, a big recommend from us. Popcorn fun, easy flick, fun action for the whole family.
Yeah.
You can see our full reviews of that. By the time this comes out, they will be up at waterscreens.com and the AU review. But that is another episode of the World of Screens podcast come to a close. Next week on the show, we'll be reviewing the first film in the new DCU, James Gunn's Superman. We're also going to chat about some of our favorite and most iconic Superman moments in film. And as always, looking at the box office for Australia. But in the meantime, head to waterscreens.com for the latest film and TV reviews, news and expert awards, articles, and much more. You can follow at Waterscreens on Instagram, at NixFlix on Instagram, NixFlixFix on Instagram, Letterboxd and X. And Peter, where can they find you on the internet?
Instagram and X, @RatedPDG, Letterboxd, and Rotten Tomatoes, Peter Gray, GRAY, and obviously the AU review for all of the amazing things. And there'll be something coming up on World of Screens that I will also be tinkering my fingers with.
We might tease that. So. We might. Yeah, Peter will be fingering on World of Screens. We might. We'll tease that on the next episode. Actually,
yeah, because it'll be the next
week after that.
Yeah,
so, worldofscreens.com contributor Peter Gray.
What will it be?
We'll leave you with that little tease.
Yeah.
But until next time, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next week.